G'day everyone, I just want to make sure that everything's working and we'll give everyone else a couple of minutes to join. So definitely shout out if you can't hear me or the screen isn't showing anything. I'm keeping tabs either side of me just to make sure, but certainly let me know. What we'll do is we'll give everyone, so we're 9:58 now, we'll give everyone just 2 more minutes, as we did have over 200 people registered for this this webinar, so it's awesome. It's the most it's registered for one that I've done so far. So pretty awesome, and excited to showcase some really good dashboarding techniques today. Got heaps to cover actually. I'm hoping I can actually fit it into this sort of 45-minute window that I plan to run this for. So can someone just let me know that everything's working on their side, just in the chat? G'day, Abram. Thanks for coming along from Athens. That's awesome. Cool. Thanks, Sandeep. That's great. That's great. Hopefully, all of you have listened to a lot of my videos on YouTube, so you already know the voice and know the way that I like to describe things, etc. So, but today I'm going to go through something relatively unique, stuff I don't actually have enough time to fit into, say, a 5 to 10 minute video. Cool. Okay. Thanks, John. Great. Okay. Cool. Okay. We'll just wait another 30 seconds. Definitely shout out where you're from. Love hearing where everyone's calling in from. It's just amazing how YouTube can bring people from all around the world together just to talk about like-minded things. Mohammed from Manchester, that's awesome. That's awesome. And Louis from Houston, that's great. Chris, welcome along from Canberra. A regular visitor, that's great. Awesome, 2 from Chicago. Cool, okay. Right, let's kick off. So today, for the next sort of 35 to 45 minutes, I don't like to drag these out too long because, everyone's busy, and I understand that. And I think, I'll get through enough content in that time where you'll go away and think, wow, I've learned some great stuff today. So that's my main, obviously my main goal. That's my main goal with all my videos. As hopefully you are aware. But today is all about dashboarding techniques, as you know from the registration page. And it's not something I've actually done too much of, because I usually focus on, say, formula techniques or DAX techniques. So I thought, hey, I'm going to show you how I develop my reports and how I develop my best practice ones. I actually feel this is probably the most forgotten element of creating Power BI reports in a lot of cases, but is ultimately one of the most important, because I truly believe that if your reports are not, if they don't look great, then who really cares about your model? If your consumers don't want to actually consume your reports, or they don't feel like they're compelled to go and look at your reports over and over again, then it doesn't really matter what you do up to there. So that's why building really good visualizations is just so key, in my opinion. And so that's why I've developed these best practices, and I basically implement them in everything I do now. Every report I create as a demo for a client, etc. So yeah, I'm going to talk through those today, and I'm going to show them to you. Just during the session, I like to keep things really interactive, obviously. So certainly just chuck things in the chat. I keep monitoring on the side here. So if you've got any interest in anything you want to add to what we're discussing, or a question about what I'm doing, then send it in the chat and I'll try and jump to it. Obviously, we've only got a short time frame, right? So I can't go into every question, and so I want to keep on topic, but happy to try and dive into anything if I think I can. Cool. Okay. So obviously, a lot of this is demo based. So I'm going to switch over to my screen in a second. One thing that I get asked all the time is, am I going to send the resource, and is there going to be a replay? The answer is yes to both of those. So I'm going to send you 2 resources post this session. First off is going to be the completed Power BI report. So the one that I showcased in the introduction and the registration video. So everyone will get hold of the completed dashboard, so you can see how I've done absolutely everything. And I'm also going to give everyone, if you haven't downloaded it already, I'm going to give you the dashboard that we start from. So you could watch the replay and basically go through all the different steps that I run through here. If I do feel like I'm running out of time, I might actually not get through everything to create the total dashboard, because there is quite a few elements and some of them are a little bit niggly, and I don't want to waste your guys' time doing niggly stuff on camera. So so that's why I'm going to send you the completed one. Okay, so hopefully that satisfies everyone, and you're going to enjoy this session. So if you are, just let me know in the chat. That'd be great. And I see that we've got a record number watching live, which is awesome. So we're up to 45, which is cool. Awesome stuff. Okay, let's do it. Let's jump in. I'm going to walk you through a few things as I talk through some of my best practices first, and then we're going to actually develop. I'm going to show you how I actually do it. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. So just give me 1 second. Cool. So hopefully, if everything's working out, you should be looking just at my Power BI Showcase website, and I'm just going to show you a few things here first of all. Okay, so we are going to create this, right? This is what we're aiming to create. So this is so a lot of you have seen this already. I've created a YouTube video about it, but I'm going to show you all the various steps that I went into creating this. But I just want to talk you through my best practices first. So okay, so in all of my dashboards, I do 7 things, or I think about 7 things when I create them. Okay. I'll quickly run through them and then we'll touch them as we actually develop this dashboard. The first one is I always try and create grids in my reports. So you see how here I've created these squares, which have created basically grids or separated out information on the report. I do that in every single report. I don't do it exactly the same as I have done here, but that's what I aim for, because I think that's what draws consumers' eyes to information effectively. Colors are absolutely essential. That's my number 2. So you have to have a good color theme. There's absolutely no way around it. If you want to build a compelling report, colors are important. The native colors inside of Power BI are terrible and just shouldn't be put into the report. So I'm going to show you how briefly how you can actually create a theme if you don't know how to do that already. Using the appropriate chart and visual. So, this is pretty self-explanatory, but like for instance, here I've got a cumulative total. This better represents changes in trend over a daily time frame than say another visual, right? So you've always got to pick the right visual. So want your reports to, I'm just seeing things. I'm still working in because I'm just seeing my video but don't clutter, so don't put too much information on your report pages. Simple is better in my view. You've got to make key information stand out as well, okay? So you've got to, if you've got some key metrics which are really important for the consumer to know, you've got to make sure that they stand out. I've got clear and simple titles and headers. Okay, so you see here in this dashboard that it's actually quite clear and very clear what the actual title is. I've got a big title on the page. I've got clear titles for my visualizations. So you've got to do this over and over again in all your reports. And then my last one. So I'm running through this quite quickly because I want to get developing. But my last one is you've got to create reports that consumers in 15 to 30 seconds, maybe even 15 to 20 seconds, they know exactly what they're looking at, okay? And so, and you'll be surprised, I look at a lot of reports even still when I go and work with people I train or clients I have, and I can't actually understand what the report is even saying. And you've got to look at it for minutes to work it out. And in my view, that's not good enough. It's got to be pretty clear as day what you're actually showcasing in your report. So those are my best practices. Those are my 7, which I stick to, and I just want to showcase how I implement these in different ways, right? So this is obviously just one way, but I've got a number of examples inside of my showcase page where I do exactly the same thing. So if you find yourself wanting to get inspiration around how you can implement these, then all you've got to do is come in here and you can see that I've created many reports that follow the same practices, right? So you see here I've created grids, I've used good colors, it's quite clear what what the consumer is looking at, and so on and so forth. So hopefully you you can draw some inspiration not only from what we talk about in this webinar, but also just from checking out the showcase and seeing how I actually implement these best practices over and over again in all my reports. So you see here I've got grids, basically squares of colors, and here I use I use really colorful backgrounds, colors that mold into the background, so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, so I've got a couple of questions on the chat, but I'll be showing you how to do these in the webinar. Okay, so I'm not going to stop now. Just go dive into that. I'll show you in a second. It's relatively intuitive. All I've got to do is show you. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that and then bring up my dashboard again. So this is what, guys. This is what we're going to aim to create here. Now, how do we start? How do we start? This is what. So does anyone recognize this resource? You may have actually downloaded it because I offered it for, I offer it as a free download from my website, just in the resources section, multi-year performance analysis. So what we got, the model which sits in behind this report is exactly the same. From this model to this model. I didn't actually change anything. All I did was I changed the visualizations, right? So I looked at this and I thought, well, look, I can make this look better. I can make it stand out. I can implement some of my newer best practices to make it that much more compelling, just to stand out a little bit more. So that's exactly what I did, and that's exactly what we're going to do now. Okay, cool. So let's jump into it. Let's jump into it now. If I'm to get this into its newest form, then I need to change quite a bit. And basically, I'm going to start from scratch here, other than just keeping the title, because I've changed so much. I've changed a huge amount. Actually, just by looking at it, I can probably change a couple of things. I can keep this one here. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it. I'm going to show you how quickly you can do this as well. Now, who's just out of interest, who's actually been using Power BI extensively and understands how quickly you can create visualizations? I mean, hopefully you do. If you have, let me know in the chat. And also, if you haven't, and this is new to you, then hopefully you'll see in the next sort of 10 minutes how quickly you can actually draw up these compelling visualizations, even from nothing. Because I'm going to start deleting everything in a second. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to delete. I'm going to go around here and delete absolutely everything here because I can recreate it so fast. I'm just going to keep this one here. And then I'm going to just change this over here. And this is basically where I'm going to start. Cool. So I'm just going to move this to the side just so I can make sure that I'm actually replicating it in some way, shape, or form. Cool. Okay, so whenever I start out building my visualizations, right, I always just get an outline before I go and jazz anything up with colors or icons or good titles. I just try and build the shape of how I want it to look before I move on. And I recommend doing the same, because if you try and do all these niggly little changes to your colors, etc., right from the word go, you might end up changing them multiple times. So I try and just build an outline, and then once I'm happy with how it might eventually look, I then go and make those more visual changes. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to just go around my report and just set up the key things. So I'm going to grab my slicer here, because I want to make sure that I can actually filter by date. So I'm just quickly and easily creating that. I mean, it is really actually amazing how quick you can create visualizations in Power BI. I mean, to create this sort of thing in the old days of Excel and PowerPoint was just such a grind. I mean, that's why I think Power BI is going to just be so huge for everyone out there. And I'm sure some of you are already aware of that. So I'm preaching to the converted, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm just going to create these drop down slices on the left hand side here, and then I'm just going to. And this is another thing that I recommend over and over again to people that I train, is that you should copy and paste wherever you can, right? It just speeds up your development that much more. And so even when I'm just going to create a new visualization on the side here, I would then just delete these ones out, and then I'm going to bring my sales in here and then change the visualization like that. And you'll see that I've actually got all these prepackaged measures on the side here. Nick, I see you've asked a question. I'll have to come back to it just so I can just do a few setup things here, if that's all right. Cool. Okay, so then I'm just going to copy and paste here, change the visualization, and just put my latitude and longitude in here. And obviously with spatial, you'll discover this pretty quickly in Power BI that you want to try and get your latitude and longitude numbers. I guess it's just a fail safe. It makes everything actually work in your map visualizations. Okay, so we're motoring along here, and then to create this visualization down here, I'm just going to grab my month and year. So I'll just drag that in here, sub that in. See, that's how quick you can do that. And then I'm just going to bring in my channel dimension into that visual there. And then creating my donut chart here. I'm going to go sales, and again by channel. And then I'm just going to copy and paste, because as I say, it's just so quick to just sub in and out. So you've got to do this wherever you can. And we've got a few more, and then I'm just going to change this one over and bring in my products dimension. So if you've got your model set up right, so you see how I'm creating, I mean, does everyone agree that you can create these so quickly? I mean, if you've got your model set up correctly, so I'll just jump back here. If you've got a simple model that works, has got all the dimensions that you want, then this stuff becomes so easy, right? It just becomes so easy, so quick. Obviously I've created a few measures here, like for example, I've used some time intelligence in combination with cumulative totals to create visualizations like this. But once you can do that, obviously you've got to set up your measures, so sometimes that can take a little bit. But if you've got your measures set up, then you can you can utilize those measures just like that, just drag and drop. Okay, so we've only got a little bit more to go here, and then we're basically done. So I'm just going to create a card here of my my sales, and then I'm going to create another card down here of my profits. Now, this is where I can jump into just a bit of DAX formula, because you see here on the left-hand side, I don't actually have any profits, right? So I've actually got to create it. And so I'm going to do some measure branching here to get there. And I'm going to use the SumX function. I'm going to go sales, because to get total profits, I've got to work out total costs. So I'm just going to first of all work that out by using SumX order quantity times the total unit cost, like so. And then now that I've got total sales and total costs, I can then jump to total profits, right? So then I'm going to go total profits, and this is what I call measure branching. And then I'm going to go total sales minus total costs, and you see here that I'm just referencing the measures. This is the power of measures. I hope that all of you are actually using measures. That's one thing that I say from the word go. You've got to try and create these measures, because anything advanced in Power BI, it always starts with measures. It's the true analytical power behind Power BI. So we've got a question: why do you have a key measures? Yes, it's because so you'll see here, I've got these key measures. I'm big on this because you'll find, you see here, you'll find that you'll have lots of measures and you want them all in these folders. You want them cataloged so they're really easy to go and find what you need. Okay, if you have any more thoughts or questions on that, check out my free training on Power BI at enterprisedna.co. I run through that in more detail. Cool. Okay, so now that I've got profits, I can sub my profits into here, and we've got a couple other things to do there. But yeah, Levi, I agree. It's way better organized when you do it like that. You'll see models that I built. I actually have 6 or 7 measure tables, and it's just my way of really organizing my model well. Okay, and then I'm just going to lastly just create these 2 tables down here, and I'm going to show you why I use these shortly. But these are important. These tables down here are actually for an important reason, a very important reason. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to make sure that I run through that at the end. Okay, so hey, check it out. Basically, we're done. So you see how I said I build the outline before I actually move any further. Well, this is it. This is that. I mean, I created this probably. Maybe let's say 5 or 6 minutes. We were able to create this. I mean, if I wasn't having to talk through everything, I probably would have created it even quicker. But that's the power of Power BI, right? The visualization aspect of Power BI. Okay, so now that I have built my outline, we're obviously not done. I mean, looking at this, right? Hopefully you can agree that it doesn't actually look that good. I mean, it doesn't look compelling. We can make it look way more compelling. We can make it look like my example here. So we've got to go through some of my best practices. We've got to implement some grids. We've got to change the colors. We've got to make sure that our charts are appropriate. We've got to make key information stand out, good titles, etc., etc. So all of that stuff hopefully is quite intuitive to you. But in saying that, sometimes it's good to have a reminder, and I'm also going to just show you how I implement these now. Cool. Okay, so the first thing is, I mentioned before, the custom color palette for Power BI is terrible, absolutely terrible, and you can't, at all, please don't use it. Basically, please don't use it. Try and get a color theme in there, because you now can create color themes in Power BI. So I'm just going to run through how you actually do that, and I'm going to actually send you guys this link. Okay, I'm going to send you these links now. This is just a folder with all the things some of the things I'm going to send you. But check this out. To create a color theme, you'll see up here in the Home tab, you'll see you've got Switch Themes up here. So this is where we're going to import the theme. So have we confirmed if key measures working against? Sure. So okay, I'll just quickly jump to this question. You only see one in this model. Okay, there is only one in this model, but normally I would have multiple. I just whip this up really quickly. So it's totally up to you, right? It's totally up to you. I always would recommend having at least one key measure table, but I have multiple. So for example, in some of my models, I have like 80 measures. And so there's just no way you want to have them all in this one like here. So, I separate out, say, my time intelligence calcs, my cumulative calcs, my scenario calcs, my grouping calculations, all of these additional DAX measures, I would put them into new tables, okay? New measure tables. And if you're not quite sure how to create measure tables, I'm not going to go through it today, but that's I go through that in my free training, which is on enterprisedna.co website. Okay, so definitely check that out. Okay, cool. So I just want to run through color palettes now. Okay, so to create your color palette, you obviously got Switch Theme at the top here, and we need to import a theme. Now, it's still a little bit manual, but you have to create. You need to create what's called a JSON file in this format. Okay, I'm going to send this to you so you can actually reuse it. So don't worry. Any color palette. But what I first do is you whip it up in a notepad, and then you've got to save it. You've got to save this. Let's go save as, And then all you've got to do is put .json on the end. And then what that does, it actually turns it into the format, which I have here, color palette.json. And then that is what you then use inside your theme. Okay, so, okay, Audrey, I see your question there. Just not something I can jump into right now. I honestly am not actually quite sure if that has been fixed or not, but I would hope it is, because I would still be using measure tables regardless. You will find very quickly that if you don't use measure tables, your models become a mess. That's just my personal view, but quite a strong view on that. I certainly hope that Microsoft would fix that issue around the increase or decrease in time. Maybe it's just not on the first release. Okay, so now that I've created that JSON file, I'm going to import the theme. Okay, so I'm going to come import theme, and then all you've got to do is go and find that JSON file, double click it, and here you'll see that the theme changes now. Okay, the theme changes, and so now I actually have this perfectly developed theme of all of the correct colors. Now I want to show you another tip, another really quick tip. Okay, if you want to create an entire theme, check out this website. Actually, not this one. Coolers.co. Okay, so if you are not sure about how you can create a good website, then check out Coolers.co, and that enables you to create, or at least get the code to create this. Okay, to create all of these codes to create your color theme. And then once you've done it, you put it into that format, get it into a JSON file, and get it into your model. Cool. Okay, so now I want to tell you something that I've discovered very recently around my development, and something I didn't go into as much when I first started developing Power BI reports, but I love dark backgrounds. Create my background. I'm going to make it really dark. And you see how I think almost immediately things pop a little bit more. We've obviously got to make a lot of changes, no doubt about that. But as we do, you'll see that things just stand out a lot more if you have a really dark background. It could be, I'd say, a dark black. Could be dark anything. Could be a dark, a dark picture. But it does make things stand out a little bit more. Now, look, this is personal preference. I have seen out there that some people don't believe in it, but I just feel lately that it does make things that much more compelling. Like, for example, if I just quickly review some of my examples, you see here that the dark and the white just makes things really pop just a little bit more. And I think it does. I think it does. Okay, cool. So now that I've got that, we've obviously got to make a lot of these. We've got to make a lot of these white, right? So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that. But now we have to create grids. Okay, so this is where my grids philosophy comes in. Still, we don't want everything to just be blatted out on a page. I want to separate it out with my grids. And so how do I do that? I use shapes, right? I use a rectangle shape, and what I do is I layer these on top of the background. So I'm just going to do a few here, and I'll show you what I mean. And what I've got to do is I've also got to change the colors as well, so that it actually fits into the background. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the shape and then change the color of it. I'm going to take out the fill, and then I've got to get rid of the line here. And I probably want to make this just look a little bit darker, I would have thought. So I just come in here and change it to a little bit of a darker color. Cool. Okay, so that's starting to look good. The last thing you've got to do is you've got to send these to the back. You've got to send these. So I just click on this a few times just to make sure. And then once I've done that, then my visual actually appears on the front of it. So check out how much. Check out once I go around my page and I just place these everywhere, how much this changes the shape of my report. So this is how I'm going to create these separate grids that my visuals are going to sit in. So this is where there's just a little bit of a niggle that I've got to work through. and align them in a second. So I just do a quick copy and paste. So, and it just wraps things in their own little space in the report. And look, this is exactly how you do PowerPoint presentations as well. So I'm stealing a bit from presentation techniques that I've seen elsewhere, but the great thing about in Power BI is how you can automate the visuals inside of them, right? And so that's one of the really clear benefits of doing it in here versus doing it in a static way in PowerPoint. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to align these a bit better, and you'll very quickly see. Hopefully, I mean, what do you think? What do you think? I mean, are you starting to see what I believe? In terms of how this just makes things stand out a little bit better. Just let me know. Let me know in the chat. Okay. So this is where I need to, my OCD comes in, and I need to align everything perfectly. But that's ultimately what you want to do also. Okay, cool. So so these little things just take a little while, right? So I don't want to spend the whole time going through those. But I just want to show you a few other things that you've got to be aware of, and hopefully we can clean this up pretty quick. So just a reminder, all I did was I made a black background because I'm getting a couple of questions, and then I created a shape. So I just created square shapes, and I layered them on top of the background, and then that's all I've done. But then we've got to do a bit of fixing up, right? Because we've got to make sure that all of the other best practices work in here as well. Like obviously we can't see the titles, we can't see the axes because they're not the right colors. Okay, so that's what we've got to do to fix this up. So obviously we've got to make things white to make them stand out a little bit more, right? So that's where all the formatting section comes in here. So I'm just going to quickly run through how I do some of these. And so I'll just quickly go here, and I'm also going to delete the titles here. Okay, so because I'm going to make clearer titles, and I'm going to position them how I want. So I'll just quickly run through here. Yes, Karan, I hear your question. I'm getting there shortly, so just bear with me. It's around the icons. I'll show you very soon how I get those. And I'll just finish off a couple here. Cool. Okay. So I'm just going to put some and then get rid of the titles. Okay, cool. So I just want to show you one massive consideration when doing this, okay? Because this is just not something that is done that often from examples that I've seen, right? Now, so the big issue with white coloring inside your visualizations, if you go and your consumers go and expand your visualizations, check out what happens to the visual. You can't actually see any of the axes or any information on your report because you need to actually have a color in the background of your actual visualization. You can't have just the background color from a shape. Okay, and so how I solved this, if you think back to the demo, how I solved this was I had to create also a background to my visualizations. So I layered another background on. I came in here and I went and created another background, and I just made that the transparency. I just added the transparency there, and so John's asking, why don't I use the format painter? Well, it's because, John, I wanted to create a different, I wanted my titles to be different, and I wanted to position them myself. So for example, I wanted to then layer this on top of here, and I want to say cumulative, change this to white, cumulative sales performance. I just make this a little bit bigger. it bold. And that's starting to look a lot better, isn't it? It's not starting to look a lot better. And then what I could do is I can come around here and I can do exactly the same in all of these visualizations as well. And so I just need to come here, change the background, and then change that to 30. And then we can very quickly align things quite effectively like so. And then I can copy and paste and call it daily sales performance. Okay, so now that I've done that, now that I've done this, I'm going to show you how you can put the icons in. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to show you how you can, I'm just going to change some of the backgrounds here. And I'll just show you how you can do it as well. So obviously we want to make sure that these stand out too. And so we might want to color the slider as well, the same color. And obviously we've got to make sure that these, so what I do there is I just go table style none, and then I change the values. Sorry, I'm just whipping through some of these. You'll see it in the demo model that I send you anyway. Cool. Okay. So you see how it's really coming together. Hopefully you can see that as well. I'm not gonna run through every single one because I'm basically going to send you the demo model, right? But the last thing I want to show you is the icons. So a few of you are asking that, right? Now, I get my icons. I mean, you can just Google it. It's not that difficult. But I get my icons from a website called Flaticons. So I'll show it to you. So flaticon.com. I'll just now if you want to download a lot like I have, you've got to sign up. It's not actually that expensive. It's about $10 a month or something like that. But so you can say put line charts in here. And what it does is it actually brings up all of these different icons that you can actually utilize, right? And you can get different colors. You can get, there's so many. I mean, I think they say there's like 50,000. So this is where I come basically, as easy as that. And I download them, and then you store them on your computer. And then so how you bring them in is you go and grab an image. And I'm just going to navigate to where mine are located. So I have a number of icons. If you actually get them in white, they're quite hard to see on your screen in your folder. But if you bring them in like so, you can see there that now it just really adds. I really am a massive fan of icons now. I didn't actually use them that much previously, but now I use them all the time. I think that in terms of professionalism, the professionalism in your reports, it adds a tremendous amount to just the look and feel. It just looks way more professional, right? And so I can drag these around like so very quickly. It starts to look really cool. Now I got a question about this map. So I'll show you how I can actually flick this. You can actually, so you see this map. This map is actually currently in, I don't even know what you call this format, like road format. But what you can do, you can, so you see map styles here. So, so it is road. You can actually change this to aerial like that, and it actually brings a more compelling styling, I feel, to the map. And then you can obviously do exactly the same thing as I did before, where I actually changed the background a bit. And then you can say put your own title, put an icon there. Same thing as I have done previously. So what does everyone think? I don't think I'm going to do too much more here because I've basically showed you all the key things that I like to do, and I don't want to just drag it on if I'm going to send you the resource anyway, which shows you the completed product. But hopefully you can see how you can do this, how you can do all of these best practices in your own models. You can see how very quickly you just think about what it looked like without a bit of color, without a bit of, without some good clear titles, without some grids, without some icons. It just looks way more cluttered, right? And in this way, it just looks more professional. It looks like a really professional, think about great PowerPoint presentations. That's what I think of when I create these reports. Think of what they look like. You can do exactly the same thing in Power BI, okay? And that's what's so awesome about it. That's what's so awesome about the reports in Power BI and how you can make them compelling, but also automate absolutely everything. And the insights are really, really professional. So Sandeep, I'm gonna, so it's all the sort of back end is automated. So if you can still sign up to the registration page, and then you'll come into my email list and I can send you the resource out. Okay, so what did everyone think? Does anyone? I'm going to flick it back to me here right now. Just give me 1 second, and then we can have a bit of a chat. So I'm going to. You are screen sharing. I want to change that back. Okay, so hopefully I'm back on the screen now. So what did everyone think? I'm happy to jump into a few questions now. I guess one of the other things that I forgot to mention was around my training. So I mentioned this in the registration, but or in my post about this session, and that. And why big reason why I wanted to do this session was because I created a course which runs through many from start to end of these sort of scenarios, how from start to finish, from scratch, basically, you can create these really amazing reports in Power BI. And it's called Dashboarding and Visualization Intensive. So, if you're looking to learn a bit more about how to build out these models, definitely check that out on my website. It is packaged into the definitive guide to Power BI 2. So if you want to upgrade to that, that gives you that course and 4 others, and also a huge amount of resources. So I give away a lot in my courses or in my online training. So certainly check that out. I'll actually be sending a bit of an offer to you guys, a bonus offer to everyone who's actually come to the webinar today. So watch out for that on the email. Cool. So I've got a question. What's my favorite custom visual? Now, I honestly don't use custom visuals that much. There's a couple of reasons why. The first reason is because they're not actually extensively tested by Microsoft. They are somewhat, but they don't have as big a level of support as, say, a native visual inside of Power BI. So if you think Power BI, if the Power BI team issues something into Power BI desktop, you know that they have tested that so much, and that it's not going to fall over. But I've found that the custom visuals sometimes do. So from a consumer perspective, if I'm developing something for a client, that's the last thing I want, right? The other reason is because there's always some sort of downside to using them. Like the biggest one for me was colors. Like most of them didn't even allow you to change colors from the standard color palette. So that really annoyed me. And so that's that. Basically, if they don't allow that, then that's a no-go. And the other reason is they don't work on mobiles very well. So when I'm looking at reports on my iPad and stuff, a lot of the custom visuals don't even work in your iPad. So those are my reasons. I'm not saying don't use them though. Absolutely use them if there's a justification for it, but I just find that I can tell stories and create great visualizations without them. So I keep it simple. I keep it simple wherever is possible. Having a really jazzy chart that no one can understand is not something that I actually try and implement in my reports. So I got a question on the 2-year measure. So can you please show the two years before measure? Okay, so there's a couple of things in there. There's a couple of things. I'll just go back and share my screen. Just give me 1 second. I'll bring up my completed version here. So a DAX question about the 2 years. So what you've got to do, and I go over this pretty extensively in my online training, if this doesn't make sense immediately. And also I've got a lot of examples on YouTube as well around time intelligence, so check those out. First of all, you've got to do time intelligence of, say, sales last year. And then 2 years ago, use DateAd. So check out DateAd on YouTube. You'll find a video on Enterprise DNA TV. And so DateAd allows you to jump back to any time period. So it's very, very easy to implement. And then from there, all I did was I put it inside the cumulative total pattern of DAX formula. And that's it. And that enables you to jump back 2 years in terms of your data. how I set up the map, it's not too difficult, Louise. It is just this map here. So you see here, I just selected that map, and I had my longitude and latitude details. So pretty simple stuff. If you can get your latitude and longitude details into your data sets, I think if you can, I would do it all the time, 100% of the time, because it basically just drills into the specific area you want. Sometimes I have issues with addresses. Sometimes Power BI doesn't pick it up properly. So this is your one fail-safe way of getting it set up. That's basically it. Cool. Any other thoughts? Where did you get it from? Where did I get my data from? So I just found it online basically, and I mashed it up in a demo data set. That's basically it. So that's how I run all my demos. I have huge amounts of demo data sets that I've created over time. They are available inside. I only make them available inside my online training courses. So I currently have about 30 demo data sets. I know that they're very hard to get out there, so that's why I created a lot of them, and that's what a lot of my demos I created with actually. So if you want to grab those, obviously that's where the paid training comes in. But as I say, I'm going to offer everyone who has attended this webinar a bonus offer in regards to getting hold of that. So hopefully you find that you can jump in there and discover those ones. Cool. Okay, so Sam, the encode that I downloaded for creating the date table doesn't seem to work correctly, even if I enter 06 as the end. So don't enter 06, just put 6. So don't put the 0 in front of there. The quarter is the quarters will not align. So Cindy, I'm just looking at the quarters will not align to your financial year. You have to go and create a new column for your financial years, quarters. Okay. And you'll just have to create new logic in there with a calculated column. That M code does not do it. Craig, so I just, in regards to longitude and latitude, I just found it online. So I haven't got latitude and longitude for every place in the world. It's just I found one for New Zealand data. I just found it online, and I've used it. That's why I've got it in a New Zealand data set. I've also got it for. I do actually have it for. This is in my course though. I do have it in for all of America, also Australia. And there's also websites out there you can. I think I bought it. I bought it actually for like $100 or something. So yeah, hey, I give it away for free in my course. Well, not for free. I give it away within the course with all the other stuff. So yeah. Have you tried the increase-decrease feature? To be honest, I haven't tried it extensively. It is something I've been doing a million different things, and I haven't been able to jump into it too much. So that is certainly on the radar, and I'll be doing a video on it on Enterprise DNA TV for sure, because I think that the applications are huge and are quite exciting. Obviously I haven't used it, so I can't definitively say, but I haven't been a big fan of the quick insights feature, so I certainly hope it's better than that. Cool. Okay, so we've been going for 45 minutes. Awesome session, and a record attendance today, which is great, obviously. Always cool to have lots of you along. Hopefully, how did you find it? Have you learned a lot? I mean, obviously with these sessions, my main goal is to teach you lots, right? And to teach as many people about Power BI as I possibly can. It's the same with my Enterprise DNA TV channel, and it's also obviously applies to my Enterprise DNA online portal with all my free and paid training there. So increase-decrease analysis doesn't work with measures. Wow, I didn't even know that. I've got to explore it further, so I can't make any judgment. But if that's true, that's pretty sad, because measures are so important in Power BI. Basically, if you want to do amazing work in Power BI, you've got to learn DAX. That's basically it. There is no way around it. But once you do, you will be amazed at what you can achieve. I mean, it is just amazing. It is an amazing analytical engine. I always call Power BI that. Okay. So I'm going to wrap things up unless we've got any last sessions. Thanks for all your feedback. That's really great. Love producing Power BI content out there for everyone. I will hopefully hold another one of these very soon. I enjoy holding them, and I enjoy showcasing lots of cool stuff with Power BI. And I'm hoping that you're learning a lot and being able to implement a lot of the things that I'm showcasing out there, not only here but also through all my other venues which I produce content, my blog and etc. Cool. Okay. I did have a couple other questions, like, am I going to do questions on the API and etc. Probably not in the near term. Okay. My focus is on empowering analysts with Power BI. That's my main focus. Basically, I want to showcase how everyday analysts who mainly work in Excel can jump to Power BI and produce way better stuff in way quicker time. So I'm not too involved in the hardcore development aspect as much. Maybe in the future. Just not in the short term, so I can't promise you anything there. Okay, cool. I will talk to you all soon, and certainly watch out for an email shortly. Might be in the next hour or so. That will contain lots of the resources from today's session, and also a link to a replay, and also just a small bonus offer for those who attend today. If you want to upgrade into my online training. Cool. Okay. Any questions or thoughts post the session? Just shoot me an email, and I'll try and come back to you. I do obviously get a lot of emails, and so I can't really do everything. But I'll just let you know if I can't. Okay. Cool. Signing off. Talk to you all soon. Cheers.